Episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast is brought to you by pmtlifestyle.com. Authentic Muay Thai lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at pmtlifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of the Nak Muay. Go check it out.
I want to talk about Black Room at Deep Studios. If you enjoy the content of this podcast, you will definitely enjoy the value that you get out of the Black Room and being a member of the Black Room. What it is it's a subscriber-based way to support the podcast. If you enjoy the podcast and want it to continue, I'm asking for your help. And in exchange, you're going to get an underground view of Muay Thai, American Muay Thai, as well as within Thailand. We have people who are now working on the ground in Thailand that are helping us get media, content, all that stuff. We're posting it there on Black Room, as well as behind-the-scenes footage of the podcast recordings when we're recording. After I stop recording for stuff that we broadcast, we put some subscriber-based only content on there. So you're going to really get a lot of value out of that subscription. Okay, it's not just supporting the podcast. We also have podcast subscriber only merchandise that's coming out as well here in 2024. So you have to be a part of the Black Room in order to get access to that. So I'm asking you for your help on that, but I know that it's not so much of you helping me. It's going to be us giving you a ton of value that you're going to get and just enjoy it. And it's only $5 a month. All right, you can cancel it anytime. Every little bit counts. Please go join it. The link is down in the show notes. All right. Anyways, sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. My name is John Pu'u. I'm your host. If you're watching this on YouTube, you obviously see me as well wearing our awesome Pu'u Muay Thai Father shirt. It's essentially the Pu'u Muay Thai words in like the Godfather font style. Super stoked on it. But today I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of fighters don't want to admit. Why most Muay Thai fighters are broke. Oh, go figure, especially in the West. I've been in this game for a very long time, over 18 years. I've been competing, coaching, running a gym, working with promotions, working as a ring official. I've been around the game in so many different aspects. It's not even funny. All right. And I've seen firsthand why some of the best fighters out there can't afford to just keep going. But more importantly, we're going to talk about how you could potentially fix it. Whether you're an active fighter, a coach, or just a hardcore Muay Thai fan, you're going to get real practical solutions to actually make money in this sport in ways that you can keep going. So stick around. All right. So with this, let's talk about some harsh realities. Fighters' pay doesn't start with, being super high when you first get started. Okay. A fighter's pay is not going to be like all of a sudden you're making a living off your first pro fight. For most fighters, fight purses are insanely low compared to other combat sports, even at the highest level. Even in Thailand, where Muay Thai is a national sport. All right. Fighters are maybe making, let's say like between $100 and $500 per fight for like a fight purse, right, on a traditional show. Sometimes that's even less. I've heard kids fighting for ice cream sandwiches, just to give you like a frame of reference. Outside of town, it's not much better. All right. It's probably even worse, because there's not as many opportunities to be able to do this like you do in Thailand. All right. So even in promotions like RWS, One Championship at Lumpini Stadium, only the very top names are really making solid money. And there's a reason why. Everyone else is barely enough to live on. All right. But the thing is, you have to think about $30 or $50 in Thailand goes much further in Thailand than it does in the United States, because of currency, all that good stuff, right? And if you're fighting for exposure, let me tell you, exposure doesn't pay rent unless you got a way to monetize it, right? So why is this the case? There's really a few reasons. Muay Thai still isn't completely mainstream, as much as where you're seeing podcasts, you're seeing media outlets, you're seeing promotions like One Championship, RWS, and they're getting big sponsors, and it's coming. But unlike boxing and MMA, there's really just not as much money flowing into the sport like there is for established sports such as MMA and boxing. Fighter pay also isn't prioritized. Many promotions barely break even, especially in the West when it comes into pro Muay Thai. They usually lose money, and they rely on sponsorships, not so much ticket sales, to be able to float costs like expenses for travel for fighters, right? If you're coming from out of country, out of state, that costs money. Hotel, transportation fees, their fight purse, whatever it is that they're asking for, that comes to a cost, and every single person has it. Licensing, registration fees for each state. If you're in a place where it requires registration, this adds up. And that fighter who's from out of state's probably not selling in person, not putting butts in seats, right? Unless it's a big name like in UFC or in boxing. Also, fighters don't treat themselves like a business. We'll get into this more later, but if you're relying on just fight purses, you're doing it just all wrong when it comes into professional fighting. It is a business. So let's talk about like the traditional Muay Thai career path and a little bit why it's flawed, or why people think that this is the way it's going to go. Here's what they think. They think that their careers are going to look like this. They train hard. They're going to fight as often as possible. They're going to get noticed by a big promotion because they watch all their fights, and just kind of like the if I build it, they'll come kind of train of thought, right? Which we know is not true. If you build it, they will not come. They will also think about that they're going to land a big contract and make real money. This sounds good, right? The problem, that's not really a reality. 99% of fighters never get that big break, as we call it. Even those who do, they're still just one injury away from being back at square one. If your entire strategy is based on getting signed by one major promotion, you're setting yourself up for failure. Not only that, is if you're trying to shoot for one promotion, that promotion can go bankrupt. They could default on your check, right? I think one is now based in Cayman Islands. They default on your check. What are you going to do? Really, what are you going to do? You can't do much, right? So, because I want you to think about this, because even those at the top of those organizations, they're making way less than you think, all right? Not to mention that many of the top fighters have contracts where they split up the pay and aren't making as much as you think they are personally. It is a business. There is a lot of expenses, time, and resources put into this person. All right. So let's talk a little bit like maybe a blueprint on how we can make money. So let's go to the good news. There's always a way to make actual money in Muay Thai outside of just fighting. You just have to stop thinking like a fighter and start thinking like a business person a bit, because Muay Thai is about money. Think about gambling, all that stuff. The reason why people do Muay Thai in Thailand is for money. In the West, we do it for confidence, prestige, and really it's more out of, I don't want to say like a casual nature, right? But it really is. And we get to do it out of recreation. We don't do it because we have to, and because we need that money. All right. So let's talk about a bit how you can do it. If you're a fighter, think about coaching and private lessons. You already have a skill that people will pay for, right? Offering private training sessions can bring in, upwards of $150 an hour if you do it right, which is way more than most fight purses, right? You think about it, you're making $100 a fight. If you only fight once every quarter, you're freaking poor, man. All right. And this is one of those things that, like, for our team, we like our competitors to learn a little bit of coaching that are taking fighting seriously. They have aspirations to go pro because they need to be able to have ways to support themselves through their profession. If they don't learn this valuable skill, then they become a great fighter. They may not be able to stick to the sport, right? So this will help you make more money than just on those fight purses by doing coaching, private lessons, all right? Next is affiliate marketing and sponsorships. Brands love fighters who have an engaged audience. All right, engagement's very key there. If you're not building your social media engagement and following and reaching out to gear companies, supplement companies, fitness brands, you're really honestly leaving money on the table, because there is a great opportunity in Muay Thai right now. Speaking of affiliate marketing, what that is like they give you a link. If someone buys from that link, you get a percentage of the sale. If you are interested in this and you're a fighter listening to this, Pu'u Muay Thai, our online shop for all of our merchandise, including like this shirt that I'm wearing right now. If you're watching, you won't be able to see it, but if you're watching here on YouTube, then you could definitely see it. With that, you get a percentage of the sale. So our percentage depends on how engaged you are and how much you are pushing. All right. So if you need an affiliate program and you don't know where to get started, I will help you out. Get started with Pu'u Muay Thai's online merch. It doesn't all say Pu'u Muay Thai on it. It has some other brands that people wouldn't even know that are Like our most popular brand is a cat Muay Thai shirt. Honestly, our best selling item online. All right. But you're leaving money on the table. If you haven't thought about this, like technology is great, especially when you can leverage it like this. Another way is online training programs with social media platforms like Teachable, Patreon, or even YouTube, right? You can create online training programs and sell them online coaching programs. So there's a lot of people I know that I've had some of them here on the podcast before. They make money, with online courses. So imagine making that money while you sleep, right? You're in Thailand, you're training, you do your work remote, and you focus on fighting. It is hard. It's not easy. All right. It's not simple. It requires a completely new set of skills. But this is what a lot of the top fighters are doing right now. For ones that are going through it, doing whether it be like graphic design, other things alongside of it. Right. So you got to get creative. There's also content creation. All right. You don't have to be a YouTuber, but or like dancing on TikTok or whatever. But if you're not at least documenting your journey, you're missing out. Because let's be honest, more views on your video equals more engagement, which is going to give you more opportunities. All right. If you have an online engaged audience and the promotions that you're training to fight on sell online pay-per-view or like an online stream, guess what? Your audience can tune in and you can put butts in seats when you're not from the area the promotion's at. All right. So social media, it's an amazing tool. It's very underutilized in this manner. Next is seminars and events. If you have any name recognition in the sport, you can travel and do seminars on your topics of choice. All right. Even regional level fighters can make, upwards of $1,000 plus in a single day teaching, a 3-4 hour seminar, depending on what it is and who they are and what they're teaching and what the value is that it brings for people. Right. And, I've done it myself. It works. I've been doing it for a long time. I've flown out to different places, different states, teaching seminars, teaching different aspects of Muay Thai as the sport's growing, right? Because I've made that investment myself to acquire this knowledge and be able to impart it on others. I learned the skill of coaching, all right? Bottom line is you don't have to be broke, right? You just have to start thinking bigger than just fight purses. Right, you think bigger outside of that because it's a business. How do you get different income outside of your fight purse, right? And I know some people are like, well, I just want to focus on fighting. Well, here's the reality of it. Unless you have a really good manager who's taking probably a sizable chunk for doing a lot of this work for you, it's not going to happen, all right? So I know that this is kind of like a hot button topic for some people, but it's what I'm seeing, and I might be a little bit jaded on the whole topic, but if you're not doing this, like you're kind of pissing into the wind there. All right. So just some of like the thoughts on this is you really need to start thinking like entrepreneur. A fighter themselves, their name is a business. You are your own brand. It is your personal brand. If you made it this far, and you're doing this and you're fighting and you're trying to pursue this further, you've already made it than most people. A lot of people give up before they even have their first fight when they're trying to. If I can just tell you how many people I've met, and it's like it's a joke. You can ask your coach, hey coach, out of every person that comes in the door that says they want to be a fighter, how many of them actually become a fighter? How many of them actually set foot in the ring? Ask them. They'll probably laugh because it's a lot. All right. So the key takeaway here is treat yourself like a business and do what you say and say what you do. The best fighters aren't just warriors in the ring. They're also warriors outside of the ring. They're smart about how they make money. So if you're serious about building a career in Muay Thai, start teaching, start creating content, start building your brand and finding ways to make money outside of the ring. Because at the end of the day, being tough, being strong and talented, it doesn't pay the bills if no one sees you. All right. Because I've seen it time and time again. The most talented person doesn't always get the position. All right. The person who's best at selling themselves most likely gets the position. All right. Even with fighting. So you got to be smart. That's what helps you get those better opportunities. Okay. So with that, if you like this episode, be sure to hit that subscription button, subscribe button here on YouTube. Right. If you're listening, share your thoughts. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. You can hit me up on the Black Room at Team Studios, which is our VIP community. You can hit me up on Instagram at Pu'u Muay Thai. And let's keep this conversation going. And until next time, keep training hard, keep hustling. Remember, keep growing. Don't let that idea like, oh, I'm not making enough money, I have to quit. Find a way. I sold my blood to be able to do this stuff. I was just going through so for those that don't know, I work also as a ring official. I've mentioned it a bit, but I do this quite a bit. All right. When I first started officiating, I once drove 18 and a half hours to be able to go have the opportunity to officiate. All right. Drove from Los Angeles to Seattle, Washington to be able to officiate, and then drove back the next day after we officiated. So we drove up Friday, went to weigh-ins, worked all day Saturday, drove back first thing in the morning on Sunday for another 18-hour drive back. All right. Find a way to do it. All right. It sucked. It was terrible, but it was worth it. All right. So you got to get creative with your ways that you are going to support your fighting career and not be broke. Right. If you want to do this, find a way to make money in the skill. If you have a coach, if you have a mentor, talk to them and take action on it. All right. If there's number one thing I can say, just like the people who claim that they want to be a fighter and they never set foot in the ring that we asked our coaches about, I can't tell you how many people I've given this advice to and they don't take it. I also want to give a shout out to people such as Matt Lucas, who gives a ton of free content creation tips. And he's been preaching this for years. I've had him here on the podcast for years. And it's true time and time again. If you're not doing this stuff, you're not going to have a long, prosperous career in Muay Thai. All right. If you're just doing this for fun, being weekend work, cool, whatever. But if you're trying to pursue this seriously and be in on it, this is what you got to do. Until next time, Sawadee Ka.
All right, that's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today to the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast. If you enjoy the content, go leave a review over on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Give us a rating. It means the world to us. Also, if you want to be a guest on the Pu'u Muay Thai Podcast, or if you just want to shout out to your friend, go check us out at podcast.puumuaythai.com. You can submit to be able to be a guest on the podcast. You can submit what you want to talk about. Also, if you want to just give a shout out, there's a button for that too. Sawadee Ka.